There are certain moments in a year that seem ordinary on the surface, days that arrive quietly without any obvious sign that something extraordinary is about to unfold. Yet beneath the visible world, powerful currents are already moving into position. Friday, May 29th, is one of those moments. This is not simply another page turning on the calendar. It is the approach to a rare energetic threshold, a point where months of pressure, uncertainty, and invisible preparation begin converging into a single opening that has the potential to alter the trajectory of countless lives. As you are hearing this message on Thursday, May 28th, you are standing at the edge of that threshold. You may not fully see it yet. In fact, many people will miss it because they are so focused on what has been difficult that they fail to recognize what those difficulties were preparing them for. But make no mistake, the entire energetic architecture of May has been guiding us toward this exact point in time. The cosmic landscape has been arranging itself piece by piece, creating conditions for a breakthrough that very few periods of the year can rival. Astrologers have been watching this build for weeks, not because of a single event, but because of a chain reaction of celestial movements that are now approaching their climax. What makes this period especially significant is that it serves as the final passageway before the Moon enters Sagittarius and begins activating the conditions that will lead directly into a rare blue moon on May 31st. A second full moon occurring within a single month has always carried a reputation for amplifying outcomes, magnifying results, and accelerating timelines. And during this particular cycle, Jupiter, the great benefactor, the planet associated with fortune, growth, expansion, and opportunity, is operating at an exceptionally potent level. But before we talk about blessings, opportunities, and expansion, we need to address something many of you have been carrying. If the past several weeks have felt unusually intense, if you have felt pressure mounting inside your life in ways that seem difficult to explain, there is a reason. Maybe you have noticed it in your emotions. Maybe it has appeared in your finances. Maybe it has surfaced inside your closest relationships. Whatever form it has taken, it has likely felt as though life has been narrowing around you, forcing you to confront situations you were not ready to face. That sensation is not accidental. Later, we will uncover exactly why this has been happening. For now, simply understand that the pressure itself has meaning. Because what is unfolding today is not merely the opening of an opportunity, it is the completion of a process. Every challenge May has placed before you has served a purpose. Every emotional release, every uncomfortable conversation, every moment of uncertainty, every financial concern, every test of patience has been functioning like preparation. You were not being punished. You were being positioned. And if you happen to belong to one of the Zodiac signs receiving the strongest influence from this gateway, what arrives next may feel almost impossible to predict from where you stand today. The version of reality you have been living could begin changing far faster than you expect. To understand why, we need to look back at what this month has demanded from us. If we are being completely honest, May 2026 has not been gentle. For many people, it has felt like a relentless sequence of emotional and psychological examinations. The month opened beneath the influence of a powerful Scorpio full moon on May 1st. Scorpio energy does not concern itself with surface-level issues. It digs beneath appearances. It exposes what has been hidden. It forces confrontation with fears that have been avoided and truths that have remained buried. For many people, that full moon illuminated aspects of themselves they would have preferred not to see. Then came May 6th, when Pluto stationed retrograde in Aquarius. Pluto is never subtle. Wherever it moves, transformation follows. Its retrograde motion created a collective feeling that something had shifted beneath the surface. Progress slowed. Momentum weakened. Situations that once seemed straightforward suddenly became complicated. Many people experienced delays, frustration, emotional heaviness, or a strange sense that life had entered a holding pattern. You may have felt it personally. Plans that seemed ready to move forward lost speed. Relationships required more effort. Financial matters became tangled or uncertain. It felt as though the universe had pressed pause without offering an explanation. Yet the intensity did not stop there. On May 26th, Mars in Taurus formed a square to Pluto, creating one of the most demanding and pressure-filled alignments of the year. This aspect carried enormous force. It challenged control structures. It exposed resistance. It brought buried frustrations closer to the surface. For many people, it felt like being pushed against an invisible wall. But there is an important truth hidden inside that experience. Pressure is not always a sign that something is going wrong. Sometimes pressure is evidence that energy is being stored. Imagine a bow being drawn backward before releasing an arrow. The farther it is pulled, the greater the tension becomes. In that moment, the movement appears to be going in the wrong direction. Yet the backward motion is exactly what creates the power necessary for forward movement. That is what much of May has represented. And then yesterday, on May 28th, Venus formed a square to Saturn. For many individuals, this alignment felt deeply personal. Some encountered financial limitations. Others faced emotional boundaries. Some questioned relationships, commitments, or long-term goals. It may have felt like the universe was presenting one final obstacle just before the finish line. But what if that obstacle was actually a question? What if every doubt, every restriction, every moment of discomfort was asking whether you were finally willing to release what could no longer travel with you into the next chapter? Because on Friday, May 29th, something begins to shift. The tension does not disappear instantly. Instead, it reaches completion. This is why today matters so much. Many people misunderstand the concept of an energetic portal. They assume it simply refers to a day when everything feels positive. Yet true cosmic gateways operate differently. They emerge when timing, planetary movement, and energetic readiness align so precisely that the distance between what has been and what could be becomes remarkably thin. That is exactly what May 29th represents. Throughout the day, the moon continues moving through the final degrees of Scorpio. Astrologically, the 29th degree is known as the anaretic degree, often described as the degree of destiny. It carries urgency. It carries culmination. It carries the sensation that something must be completed before the next chapter can begin. As the moon moves through these final Scorpio degrees, every theme associated with Scorpio becomes amplified. Deep emotions, hidden fears, questions of trust, psychological transformation, the desire for control, the need to release control. You may notice a strange tension moving through the day, almost like electricity gathering in the atmosphere before a storm breaks. Yet unlike earlier moments this month, there is a crucial difference. You are no longer trapped inside the lesson. You are approaching the doorway beyond it. And as Friday night unfolds, the energy begins preparing for a significant transition. The moon will leave Scorpio behind and cross into Sagittarius, marking the beginning of an entirely different frequency, one that will carry us directly toward the powerful culmination still waiting ahead. What most people fail to realize is that energetic transformations rarely begin at the exact moment marked on a clock. Long before an astrological event reaches its official timestamp, its influence begins moving through the collective field, creating subtle shifts that sensitive individuals can already feel. Technically, the moon does not officially enter Sagittarius until early Saturday morning at 8:45, yet anyone paying attention will notice that the transition begins much earlier. The release starts on Friday. The atmosphere changes. The emotional weight starts loosening. The pressure that has been building for weeks begins to crack. For many of you, the sensation may be difficult to describe. It can feel as though you have spent an endless amount of time walking through a narrow underground passageway with no certainty about where it leads. Every step has required effort. Every decision has felt heavier than normal. Every challenge has demanded more emotional energy than it should have. Then suddenly, without warning, you reach the end of the tunnel. Light floods in. Fresh air returns. What once felt confined now feels open. That is the energetic movement taking place. The shift from Scorpio into Sagittarius is not simply a change of signs. It represents a complete change of experience. Scorpio asks you to descend. Sagittarius invites you to rise. Scorpio examines wounds. Sagittarius searches for possibilities. Scorpio focuses on what must be released. Sagittarius focuses on what can now be created. This is why so many astrologers have been referring to this period as the Sagittarius Moon portal. The significance is not merely that the moon changes signs. The significance lies in the dramatic contrast between the energy being left behind and the energy that immediately arrives. One moment you are navigating the dense waters of emotional excavation. The next moment you are standing inside a landscape defined by vision, expansion, faith, and possibility. For weeks, many people have been operating from a place of uncertainty. They have questioned their path. They have questioned their relationships. Some have even questioned themselves. But when this portal begins opening, something remarkable happens. The need to control every outcome begins dissolving. Fear loses its grip. Trust starts returning. And this is only the beginning. Because while May 29th initiates the doorway, the true culmination arrives on May 31st at 4:44 in the evening, when the full moon in Sagittarius reaches exact fullness at 9 degrees and 55 minutes. That moment serves as the energetic climax of everything that has been unfolding throughout the month. And this is not an ordinary full moon. This is a blue moon. The first full moon of the month occurred on May 1st in Scorpio. Now, as May comes to a close, a second full moon emerges. Whenever a month is framed by two full moons, astrologers recognize a unique energetic structure taking shape. It is as if the universe creates a container around an entire month, compressing lessons, revelations, challenges, and opportunities into an intensified period of growth. Imagine pressure building inside a sealed chamber. Every emotional breakthrough, every difficult conversation, every unexpected challenge, every moment of uncertainty contributes to that pressure. Eventually, the container can no longer hold it. Something must break open. That is the role of this blue moon. Blue moons are uncommon. They appear only once every 2 to 3 years, making them naturally associated with rare opportunities, unusual developments, and accelerated turning points. When a blue moon occurs in Sagittarius, those themes become even more amplified, because Sagittarius is the sign connected to expansion, abundance, higher wisdom, future vision, and unwavering belief in possibilities beyond current circumstances. This is why many people may suddenly experience dramatic shifts in awareness during this period. Long-held assumptions can disappear overnight. New opportunities may emerge where none previously existed. Directions that once seemed impossible suddenly become accessible. Yet even this explanation does not reveal the most important factor behind why this particular portal stands apart from every other major event of the year. The answer can be summarized in a single word: Jupiter. Every Sagittarius full moon ultimately answers to Jupiter, because Jupiter governs the sign of Sagittarius. The condition of Jupiter determines how the energy of the full moon expresses itself. A weakened Jupiter can generate inspiration without results. It can create excitement without manifestation. It can offer dreams without providing the support necessary to bring those dreams into reality. But that is not the situation we are dealing with now. In May 2026, Jupiter is operating from a position of extraordinary strength. Jupiter is traveling through Cancer. In traditional astrology, Cancer is considered the sign of Jupiter's exaltation. Exaltation represents a condition in which a planet is elevated, empowered, supported, and capable of expressing its highest qualities with remarkable effectiveness. It is a position of honor, a position of blessing, a position of amplified influence. What makes this even more significant is the rarity of the cycle itself. Jupiter enters Cancer only once every 12 years. That means the opportunities connected to this transit are not everyday events. They belong to a larger timeline. They represent periods capable of producing developments whose impact continues long after the transit itself has passed. And the gifts associated with Jupiter in Cancer are unique. This is not superficial luck. This is not temporary success. This is the kind of expansion that strengthens foundations. Jupiter in Cancer nurtures emotional security. It encourages healing within families. It supports deeper human connection. It creates opportunities rooted in genuine care, trust, and support. Financial improvements under this influence often feel more stable because they are connected to long-term security rather than short-term gains. In other words, this energy does not simply hand you something valuable, it helps you build something lasting. Now consider what happens when a Sagittarius blue moon reaches its peak while being ruled by an exalted Jupiter operating at maximum strength. The result is extraordinary. The planet associated with fortune, growth, protection, and opportunity is functioning at one of the strongest levels available within the entire astrological system. That is why this portal is being viewed as far more than a fortunate moment. It represents a convergence of forces that dramatically increases the potential for breakthroughs, rewards, and life-changing developments. And while everyone will feel this energy differently, there are 3 signs positioned to receive its influence more directly than the rest: Sagittarius, Cancer, and Taurus. The astrological geometry surrounding these signs is exceptionally favorable. The planetary placements, house activations, and energetic alignments create conditions that allow them to absorb the most concentrated expression of this gateway. Let us begin with Sagittarius. If your sun, moon, or rising sign falls in Sagittarius, this period may feel as though the universe has been preparing a stage specifically for you. The blue moon on May 31st occurs in your own sign. That means its illumination falls directly into your first house, the area of the chart connected with identity, self-expression, physical presence, personal direction, and independence. A full moon in the first house often marks a powerful personal milestone. It shines a light on who you have become. It reveals growth that may have gone unnoticed. It invites recognition, confidence, and the courage to fully embody your authentic self. But there is another layer to this story. The first full moon of the month occurred on May 1st in Scorpio, activating your 12th house. This is the realm associated with hidden fears, subconscious patterns, karmic endings, isolation, and unseen psychological processes. That means your month did not begin with visibility. It began with introspection. While others may have seen little happening on the surface, an enormous amount of inner work was occurring behind the scenes. Old emotional material may have resurfaced. Forgotten fears may have demanded attention. Certain patterns may have finally revealed themselves for what they truly are. You may have spent much of this month feeling disconnected, uncertain, or unusually reflective. You may have wondered why progress seemed delayed, or why your energy felt directed inward rather than outward. But everything you have been experiencing has been leading somewhere. And as this blue moon approaches, the hidden chapter begins closing, making way for a completely different reality that is ready to emerge. There comes a moment after every deep transformation when you finally understand why the struggle was necessary. Not while you are living through it, not while the uncertainty is consuming your thoughts, or while the emotional weight feels impossible to carry, The understanding arrives afterward, when you can finally look back and recognize that what felt like loss was actually preparation. What felt like confusion was actually recalibration. What felt like an ending was quietly making room for a completely different future. For Sagittarius, that realization begins now. If the past several weeks have left you questioning your direction, your purpose, or even your identity, there is a reason for that. You were not falling apart. You were being stripped of everything that could not accompany you into the next phase of your life. The doubts, the fears, the uncertainty, the emotional debris rising to the surface, all of it served a purpose. Every hidden insecurity that demanded your attention was revealing itself because it was ready to be released. That process was never meant to be comfortable. In fact, many Sagittarius individuals may have felt as though they were walking through a season of invisible battles. From the outside, life may have appeared relatively normal. Yet internally, something profound was taking place. Old narratives were being challenged. Limiting beliefs were being exposed. Questions that had remained dormant for years suddenly demanded answers. That was the purification. That was the closing chapter. And now, with the energetic threshold of May 29th arriving, everything begins to change. The instant the moon enters Sagittarius, the atmosphere surrounding you shifts. It is as though a spotlight suddenly finds you after months spent waiting behind the curtain. The heaviness begins lifting. The hesitation starts dissolving. A renewed sense of possibility enters your awareness. People notice you differently. Situations respond differently. The world begins reflecting back a version of yourself that is stronger, clearer, and far more aligned with who you are becoming. Momentum returns. Projects that seemed stalled begin moving. Conversations that felt stuck suddenly advance. Possibilities that appeared distant begin drawing closer. But perhaps the most extraordinary part of this story lies elsewhere. Your ruling planet, Jupiter, is currently exalted in Cancer and moving through your 8th house. This is one of the most powerful financial configurations available to you. The 8th house governs shared assets, investments, financial support from others, inheritances, business partnerships, and the flow of resources that arrive through collaboration rather than individual effort. When exalted, Jupiter activates this territory. Opportunities often emerge through connections. Support arrives from unexpected sources. Doors open because someone believes in your vision. Resources appear because the timing is finally aligned. For some Sagittarius individuals, this may manifest as a major business agreement finally receiving approval. Others could see investment opportunities producing substantial returns. Some may encounter highly profitable partnerships. Others may receive financial assistance, inheritances, or opportunities connected to wealth that was previously inaccessible. The exact form may differ from person to person, yet the underlying theme remains the same. Expansion arrives through alignment. This is why the portal unfolding now represents far more than a lucky moment for Sagittarius. It represents permission. Permission to trust your instincts again. Permission to think bigger than you have allowed yourself to think. Permission to move toward the future instead of remaining attached to the past. The more willing you are to embrace your natural courage, your vision, and your belief in possibility, the more dramatically this energy can work in your favor. Now let us turn our attention to Cancer. Cancer. While much of the zodiac has been wrestling with the emotional turbulence of Scorpio season, you have been carrying a hidden advantage that many people have overlooked. Quietly, beneath the surface, one of the most fortunate planetary influences available in astrology has been working in your favor. Jupiter is moving through your 1st house. This transit only occurs once every 12 years. Think about that for a moment. An entire 12-year cycle has been building toward this period. Whenever Jupiter travels through the first house, it expands your personal presence, it magnifies your confidence, it enhances your visibility. Most importantly, it increases your ability to attract opportunities simply by existing authentically. People begin responding to you differently. Your energy becomes noticeable. Your confidence becomes contagious. Your presence creates openings where previously there were obstacles. And as powerful as that influence already is, there is another factor making this period even more extraordinary. On May 18th, Venus entered Cancer. Now both Venus and Jupiter occupy your first house simultaneously. This combination is exceptionally rare. One planet amplifies growth, fortune, and expansion. The other amplifies attraction, beauty, harmony, abundance, and relationship opportunities. Together, they create an energetic field that naturally draws positive experiences toward you. What makes this especially remarkable is that you do not have to force anything. You do not have to chase every opportunity. You do not have to exhaust yourself proving your worth. Instead, your greatest advantage comes from embodying your authentic self. The more comfortable you become in your own energy, the more opportunities seem to appear without effort. The Sagittarius Blue Moon on May 31st activates your sixth house of health, routines, daily responsibilities, and work environments. At first glance, that placement may seem less dramatic than some of the others, yet its impact is surprisingly significant. Because what good is abundance if your daily life cannot support it? This blue moon helps you create sustainable success. It brings improvements to physical well-being. It helps resolve workplace tensions. It introduces healthier habits. It transforms routines that once felt exhausting into systems that support your growth. Yet the most important story for Cancer remains centered in the first house. With Jupiter and Venus both amplifying your personal energy, you become extraordinarily magnetic. New romantic possibilities may appear unexpectedly. Professional opportunities may arrive without warning. Financial improvements can emerge from channels you are not actively pursuing. The reason is simple. People respond to the energy you are projecting. And right now, your energy is broadcasting possibility. The portal of May 29th becomes a moment of recognition for Cancer, a moment when you finally see your own value clearly. And the fascinating thing is that once you recognize that value, the people around you begin recognizing it too. Now let us talk about Taurus. If there is one sign that has been steadily laying the foundation for future prosperity throughout this month, it is Taurus. The story began with the new moon in Taurus on May 16th. That new moon functioned as a personal reset point. It initiated a fresh chapter connected to identity, vitality, confidence, and long-term direction. Yet the rewards emerging now extend far beyond personal growth. For Taurus, the focus increasingly shifts toward material stability and financial expansion. A major turning point arrived on May 18th when Mars entered Taurus after leaving Aries. Before that transition, Mars had been moving through your 12th house, a placement that often feels exhausting. Much of your effort may have remained invisible. Progress may have felt slower than expected. You may have been working hard without receiving recognition. Energy levels may have fluctuated unpredictably. But once Mars crossed into Taurus, the atmosphere changed dramatically. Your motivation returned. Your determination strengthened. Your physical energy increased. The feeling of pushing through mud began disappearing. Instead, a powerful sense of forward movement emerged. At nearly the same time, both Mercury and the Sun entered Gemini, activating your second house of income, financial resources, and self-worth. This is one of the most important financial sectors of your chart. Mercury stimulates ideas. The Sun illuminates opportunities. And Uranus, already positioned there, introduces innovation, unexpected developments, and unconventional paths toward prosperity. As a result, New financial insights may appear suddenly. Creative solutions can emerge where obstacles once existed. Income opportunities may arise through methods you had not previously considered. By the time the portal of May 29th fully unfolds, and the Sagittarius blue moon reaches its peak on May 31st, you are no longer preparing for movement. You are already moving. Your confidence is growing. Your energy is stabilizing. Your financial awareness is sharpening. The foundation has been established. And what comes next begins building upon everything you have spent this entire month creating. Your self-worth is solid. And then the blue moon hits your 8th house. The 8th house is where other people's money lives. Shared resources, loans, investments, inheritances, passive income. And because the ruler of this moon, Jupiter, is exalted in your 3rd house of communication and commerce. The jackpot often arrives through lucrative contracts, successful negotiations, or brilliant business partnerships. Taurus, the May 29th portal, is the moment the cosmic check clears. You've done the work. You've built the foundation. Now, the universe delivers the payout. Remember what I said about that pressure you've been feeling. At the beginning, I told you that if you've been feeling an intense, almost unbearable pressure building over the past few weeks, there was a specific reason. This is it. That pressure, that sensation of being squeezed, tested, restricted, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The universe doesn't give you jackpots when you're fragile. It gives them when you're strong enough to hold them. The Scorpio full moon on May 1st purged your emotional baggage. Pluto retrograde on May 6th exposed corrupt systems and outdated beliefs. The Mars-Pluto square on May 26th forced you to choose between stagnation and evolution. And the Venus-Saturn square yesterday, May 28th, tested your faith one final time. You survived all of it. And today, May 29th, the slingshot releases. What to do on May 29th? Today isn't a day to sit back and wait passively for luck to arrive. The portal requires participation. Here's what you need to do. Get clear on your vision. Sagittarius energy doesn't reward small thinking. It rewards big, expansive, almost unreasonable dreams. Tonight, before you go to sleep, write down your most audacious goal. The one you've been too afraid to say out loud. Release the last bit of control. If you're still holding on to fear, anxiety, or the need to micromanage, you're blocking the flow. The Scorpio moon is releasing today. Let it go with it. Take bold action. The portal doesn't reward hesitation. If there's a decision you've been putting off, a conversation you need to have, or a risk you need to take, Friday is the day. The cosmic green light is on. Trust your gut completely. With Jupiter exalted in Cancer, your intuition is operating at maximum clarity. If something feels right, it is. If something feels off, it is. Don't second-guess yourself. And most importantly, expect the unexpected. Luck during this portal often arrives through channels you weren't even watching. A random text, a chance encounter, an email you almost deleted. Pay attention to synchronicities. The ripple effect. What happens after the portal? The portal opens today, May 29th. The blue moon culminates May 31st. But the effects of this alignment will ripple through your life for weeks, even months. Some of you will see immediate, tangible results. A job offer, a sudden payment, a romantic breakthrough. For others, the shift will be more subtle. A change in perspective. A newfound confidence, a door cracking open just slightly. But make no mistake, something is changing. The slingshot has been pulled back for weeks. Today, it releases. And wherever you land, it will be far beyond where you started. For Sagittarius, Cancer, and Taurus, you're about to hit the cosmic jackpot. The geometry is perfect. The timing is divine. The luck is real. For the rest of the zodiac, you're not left out. This portal benefits everyone. But the 3 signs I've outlined are structurally positioned to receive the full force of this energy. The question is, are you ready to receive it? Because the universe is about to deliver. And when it does, the only thing standing between you and the breakthrough you've been waiting for is your willingness to say yes. Today, May 29th, the portal opens. The moon shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius. The pressure releases. The expansion begins. And the luckiest window of 2026 is officially activated. Don't miss it. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below, especially if you're one of the 3 jackpot signs and you feel this energy building. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.